So we're going to get started. I want to definitely honor everyone's time, and I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we're actually going to popcorn it around. And a few of us who are on the retreat, who are open and willing, are going to kind of share some takeaways and just our hearts behind just this community. If you're able, make sure you're on mute just because this is being recorded. But tonight I'm just going to talk a little bit about this community and the gift it is. I'm going to share really a little bit about just my personal testimony through coaching and how the community has just impacted my life. And then we're going to chat about retreat a little bit. This is not a business training call. Hopefully you can take something from it, but more than anything, I just pray that you walk away encouraged and honestly just challenged to lean in just a little bit more. Because we're going to talk about it, but truly, really and truly, like this community, if you will get involved and get to know people and lean in, like it's just so fun. And it's going to be really hard to walk away when it gets hard if you are just attached to the girls here and in like true personal relationship, like not just coaching business, but true relationship. So, first of all, just going to introduce myself. I've been here a really long time, but this last year, honestly, has been a huge transition year for myself and my family. So I personally have not been as consistent just in the community and on calls. And that's something I'm going to talk about a little bit about how that's impacted my journey. But just wanted to do a quick introduction because I know there's some new coaches and new faces that might not know who I am. So I'm Shay. I'm a wife and a boy mama. My little boy is 14 months old, and my husband and I have been married for, or will be 5 years this year, but he is my high school sweetheart, so it's been way longer than 5 years. I do work full time as a physical therapist in the hospital, and then I coach in pockets of my day. And I've been a coach for 4 years this month, which is honestly like insane. Like I don't even know where the time went. Southern girl from Mississippi, huge homebody. I had this conversation with multiple coaches this weekend, like especially Ashton, because we rode together for like 6 hours there and back. I can make all the plans, get excited, but I will be at home 99.9% of the time because that's just what I enjoy to do. And then fun fact, I do not like coffee or sweet tea. So y'all can drop in the comments if you think I'm crazy, but if you're from the South, you're like, what on earth? But anyways, that's a little bit about me. So let's talk a little bit about community. So I love this verse in Hebrews. It says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. And I think this is just so important. There's so many, you can literally take 2 or 3 words out, like each 2 or 3 words out of this verse and just talk about it. But just big picture, it shows us the importance of spurring each other on, encouraging each other as sisters in Christ, ultimately towards the Lord and his love, but then that overflows into everything else we do, including this business. And it's one of those things that is so present and evident within this community if you're involved and if you get to know people, and it changes so much. So community is so important. The Lord created us for community. He did not create us to live isolated and alone. That's where the enemy wants us. But that is not the way we're called to live. And so obviously, you hear Caroline say this all the time. Our coaching community should never take place of your in-person community. That's not what I'm saying. But this is a very rich and just awesome community if you'll lean in, and you will be spurred on, you will be encouraged. So this is just a big screen of a bunch of random pictures. And as I was putting it together, I was like, my type A personality was like getting frustrated because I couldn't get it to look even. So they're just all thrown out everywhere. So y'all just ignore that. But I'm just going to talk for just a minute and kind of share my story, and just going to leave the screen up because it's a bunch of fun pictures that reminds me of just God's goodness and honestly this whole journey. So I could talk for 3 hours if I went into detail. So I'm not going to do that, but just a little bit about me, y'all. And I'm going to share this because I want you to know how the Lord uses community and how he can use it in your life if you allow him to. So when I came into coaching, I had been using Beachbody for 12 years. Well, it's been 12 years now. So I don't know, probably, 8 years or whatever. I don't do math in my head. Completely on my own. Like I started with the DVDs. I did them, all throughout college, high school, college, all the things. I was fine doing it by myself. But I started following Caroline, and just over a period of time, honestly, I was just so encouraged and challenged in my own walk with the Lord and the way that I viewed health and fitness. I was a college cheerleader, and to be honest, y'all, I did not have a healthy just view of my body for multiple reasons. We were being judged on that, which is not healthy. But that's part of my story. And so just by following along, like I started to like see fitness in a different perspective. And so after, I don't even know how long I watched her and watched multiple people, I kind of felt the Lord nudging at my heart to coach. But like everyone else had every excuse. And that's a whole different conversation for another time. But long story short, I decided to jump into coaching. I felt the Lord call me to do it. I just got married. And I just wanted something. I wanted something that was going to like pay it forward. Like I'm a PT. Obviously, I get to love and serve people. But I don't know. I just wanted to use the passions that I had for health and fitness and share how just it had impacted me and how my view of fitness had changed and lead people closer to the Lord through it. So I jumped in and I told the girls this on retreat this week. As bad as it sounds, when I started coaching, honestly, I was just doing what everyone else I was watching was doing. Like I saw the ladies on this team sharing their devotionals, sharing their quiet time. And I'm going to be really honest. I knew the Lord. I walked with him, but not in an intimate and personal way. Like I was always that, don't take this the wrong way, but this is just my story. I was always that good girl growing up. Like I followed the rules. I did all the things. I was always in church. But as far as really knowing the Lord, I would do like a 2-minute Devo here and there. I was just always at church events. But I saw these coaches sharing and I was like, I want to share like that. Like that's what impacted me. I want to share. And I was like super OCD about my words. Like I like was worried about people's thoughts. Like I was going in, y'all. Like I was trying to figure out how to like really dive into my study, really explain it in a way that would encourage people. And, you know, like I said, as bad as it sounds, part of the reason that I started diving into that was because I wanted to share and I wanted to do good with coaching. But hold on, sorry. But it's like I told the girls this weekend, there's no way if you're consistently meeting with the Lord and truly opening your heart to him that you're not going to walk away changed. And so it's just really crazy to think that that's what really kickstarted my walk with the Lord. And it's not a coincidence. And also I can't really see chat good, so I see them coming through, but if y'all like have something to say, unmute yourself. This is very non-formal. But anyway, so that just kind of part of my story. And then about 6 or 7 months into coaching, like I said, the Lord put me here on purpose, for purpose at the right time. About 6 or 7 months into coaching, I walked through probably one of the hardest seasons of my life ever. And I'm not going to go into detail, but long story short, the Lord had been preparing me. Like he was growing my walk with him. He was growing my faith. He was growing my strength through coaching and through this community in a way that I didn't even know that like I needed to be prepared. Like I didn't know I was going to have to be prepared for a really hard season. And it's just really cool to look back and be like, the Lord knew, like the Lord put this community, these women who love the Lord and ultimately pointed me to him, which is why I'm so passionate about this community and sharing coaching, because it's just, it changes a lot. But long story short, in that season, part of my in-person community was kind of taken away out of, not because I wanted it to be, but it was. One of the biggest ways that I was serving the Lord in that season within my community was taken away. And then also a huge financial burden was added to our family that I truly had no idea about. And y'all, like the Lord's hand was in it all, because I didn't know that was coming, but the Lord sure did about 6 months ago when he knew I needed Christ-like women in my corner to help me grow my faith, to strengthen my faith, to be prepared for what was ahead. He gave me a community, because my in-person community there's kind of a pause there. And like I said, I'm not going into details, but like I kind of lost part of it. And he provided. The way that I was serving within my community was taken away, not necessarily because it was something I wanted, but it was. And hello, I had coaching. I got to start using my passions for health and fitness and serving in a new way. And then on top of that, the financial burden that was placed on us was able to be completely taken away with my income through Beachbody. And obviously, this is income disclaimer inserted here, but it's just really, really cool to look back and see how the Lord was paving a way. And, you know, fast forward through all of that, the Lord was so good and so gracious and just so much restoration from that hard season. But even then, with community, like he has just strengthened me, y'all. He has given me these ladies who have spoken truth into me. In that hard season when I was getting a lot of worldly advice from people who loved the Lord, who had great intentions, they just wanted to make sure I was okay. They were giving me this advice that honestly was so worldly, and they meant it was the best intentions. But I had ladies on this on this team who were my prayer warriors, who spoke truth into my life, even if it kind of made me mad because I didn't want to hear it. I would have rather heard people validating things happen in my life. But instead, I had people saying, no, like this is what God's word says. And I know this is hard and I know this stinks, but we're about to walk through this together and this is God's truth. And it's crazy how the Lord has used it. And then just from the simple things of some really rich friendships, like I said, God-centered friendships that I truly didn't have that rich friendships in my home, like my in-person community. I just didn't, y'all. And not only friendships for myself, but friendships for my husband and I. Like, it's really kind of funny after that one of these pictures is the first diamond retreat we went on where the husbands came, and y'all, these guys walked away with like a group text going. It's like so funny, but also such a blessing, like just seeing our husbands become such good friends. And it's just really, really cool how the Lord has used this community. And honestly, this past weekend just reminded me to reflect on all these things and reminded me that, like, hey, I need to be sharing this more. Because in seasons where I really truly wanted to not walk away because I wanted to give up coaching, but just because there was so much going on in my life, I didn't, because I just don't know how to. Like, I don't know how to walk away from this amazing opportunity with this amazing community who loves me, who points me to truth, who challenges me every day to become a better wife and mama and friend and just all of the things. And so that's like a really, really, sorry, some of that was personal, but also I want y'all to know what this community means to me and just how much of a blessing it can be if you allow it to be, but you also have to allow it to be. I could have easily in that season, I was a brand new baby coach, 6 months old, y'all. I could have walked away and not done a thing. I didn't truly know these people as well as I do now in that season, but I knew the Lord had brought them into my life, and so I trusted him in that. And as easy it would have been to say, okay, like, I'm a brand new coach, nobody cares, nobody's going to miss me. I didn't. I leaned in, and it changed everything. So that's a little bit about my personal story. So here's what I want to challenge y'all to do, and then I'm gonna stop talking so we can chat about retreat. Is sorry, I'm laughing because the I in find is not lowercase. Anyways, some things to challenge you to lean in. That just caught my eye. I'm type A, y'all, very type A. And Lauren's laughing because she's the same way. But anyways, find a purpose partner. If you do not have somebody in this community that you talk to, find somebody. If you don't know where to start, reach up to your upline and let us know. I'm gonna be honest, these purpose partners can change in so many different seasons. I've had a few, not that I'm like said goodbye, but there's been certain seasons where I've checked in more closely with certain people because we're in similar seasons of life. For example, it's hard for me even now to really like one-on-one check in with somebody who doesn't work full time, because I don't do coaching from 7 to 5 or, whatever time it is. Like, I'm at work, and so I can't respond to text messages. And so even the simplest thing is just trying to find somebody who's in a similar season of life with you. It makes a difference because you get more plugged in. You create those true relationships that, like I said, are outside of this business, like they're true friendships. And you just have somebody to hold you accountable and to cheer you on when you're tired and when you need just a reminder of why you're here, because we all need that, not even coaching in all things in life. Plug into team group messages if you are not plugged in. Now, I know, y'all, I get it. I work full time. There's been moments where there's so many messages coming through my phone. I'm like, I've got to get out of group messages. You can turn them on hide. You can mute them. You never feel the pressure to check them every day. Lord knows the people in the group messages I'm in, when I randomly text, are like, wait, who's that? Because I don't respond very often, just because I can't with work and all of that. But plug into a group message. I know for me, I have a personal one for my group of girls, and I know different coaches do too. But Caroline also has a bigger Thriving Together text group. And so if you're not in that and you want to be, let us know. Be on team calls, be on check-ins. And I'm talking to myself here because in this season, I haven't been as consistent on team calls as I used to be. And I can tell, I can tell, but every time I get on, I walk away so encouraged, so spurred on. Be real and get to know other girls personally and not just from a business perspective. That's so important. I think so often we feel like we have to always talk business or goals. And then if we don't hit those business goals or if we mess something up, it's like we feel like we can't talk to people because we feel like, oh my gosh, I failed. Like they're such a great coach. They're hitting all these goals. Like I can't even reach out to him. That is such a lie from the enemy. Let me just say that. We are seriously a family here. And it is so important to get to know people. Like I just shared some of my personal testimony with y'all because we're a family, because we're a community. And so never ever feel like you can't do that. Even if you're a brand new baby coach and you get on these calls and you're like, all these people are talking and I don't know who they are. Who cares? I didn't either when I started, but you know what I did do? I responded to text messages and group messages that Caroline put me in. I got on check-in calls and faced my fears and got out of my comfort zone. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm usually shy. I really come out of my shell the last few years. Another testimony of this community and coaching because the Lord has truly used it to just grow that boldness and courage in me. But all that to say, I'm not normally someone that just goes and does all these things. I'm not Ashton, okay? But I got uncomfortable and I got to know people and it was the biggest blessing ever. Go to in-person events. We're going to talk about that. So I'm going to kind of skip that. They're powerful. They're important. Virtual community, it's amazing, the community we have virtually, but I can guarantee if you think this is awesome, be in person, go to events, be around these people. And I think it was Kelsey Nance, she made the comment this week about how she followed everybody on Instagram. And she was like, I mean, I knew girls love Jesus, but I don't remember how she said it. So I'm sorry, Kelsey, if I butchered it. But basically, she was like, I saw what y'all are doing. I knew y'all were good people and love the Lord, but it's just different when you're in person. Y'all are real. Y'all are the same people y'all are on Instagram. It's not weird. It's y'all are who you are. Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. But anyways, we'll talk about that. Create a local community if you don't have one. That's something I'm really praying through right now for my own business and journey. And get on open gym. We have an open gym in the mornings. Obviously, y'all, I get up at 4:00 to be able to do stuff I need to do before my full-time job. So I'm not on there as consistently. But when people are getting on, even in the afternoons, they're sending text messages in that group text. And so that's another great thing about being in there is you can hop on Zoom at any time. It doesn't just have to be mornings. And biggest thing, do not isolate yourself. We're about to talk about that, but just don't. If you want to thrive in this community, if you want to grow this business, if you want to have the relationships that you see some of us having in retreats and online and all of that, you have to get out of your comfort zone and be willing to create those relationships. Okay, leaning in changes everything. Here's a few things that I just want to speak to. When you do, the truth is going to speak louder than the lies. Y'all, as coaches, we can get in our heads. Oh my goodness, I know I can. We can compare ourselves. We can feel like if we don't hit this goal, then we're a failure. Or, if we go through a season where we have to pull back, that nobody cares and nobody wants to know. Y'all, that is a lie. I just told y'all I have pulled back so much in this past year because we had so many transitions in our family. But I still had these girls checking on me, talking to me, that's just what they do, because it's not just about who's at the top of the leaderboard. Those aren't just the important people in our community. We're all a team. And when you get involved, you're going to have people speaking truth and life over you. And when the enemy wants to make you feel like you're defeated or have done something wrong or might as well quit, you have someone who is going to speak truth into you if you allow them to. You keep going when it's hard. I've already spoken on that a lot. You don't feel isolated. I just said that. Quitting simply isn't an option. Of course, there are times when the Lord is saying, no, this is what I want you to do. I don't mean that. That's okay. We are always going to support what the Lord calls you to do, no matter what that looks like. So I want you to know that. But I think a lot of the times we use it as an excuse to quit when the Lord's not calling us to. We use just being exhausted or not hitting our goals for 2 or 3 months in a row or whatever it is. Life gets hard. We're busy. We're tired. First of all, we all understand that, no matter what season of life you're in. But if this is truly where the Lord has you, then when you're just so involved in this community, then quitting is just not an option, because you have people speaking that into you. You're inspired, you're encouraged, you don't feel defeated. You have someone to carry you when you literally feel so tired. that's the beauty of this team. We share so much. We run groups together. We team up. We do things together. And so you should never have to feel like if you're going through a season that's hard or exhausting that you can't keep going because it's all on your shoulder, because it's not. We are literally together as a team. And if you don't see that, if you don't know how to get involved with group stuff, y'all reach out to me, Lauren, Caroline, you're up on whoever it is, because we have tons of group stuff. And you're just a better version of yourself. You just really are. I know I am. I know I'm a better wife. I'm a better mama. I'm a better PT in my own job when I am just being spurred on by these ladies, because ultimately at the end of the day, yes, they are helping me in my business, but they are ultimately pointing me back to the Lord. Like this weekend at retreat, y'all, I can't tell you how many conversations I had. And let me just say, 90% of them had nothing to do with the business. They had to do with my personal life. They had to do with prayer requests. They had to do with what others were walking through and what I was walking through. I I had so many good conversations with so many people, but I'm gonna say this one just because me and Ashton rode together. We literally rode from Birmingham to Gatlinburg, which we got stuck in traffic. And anyways, we were in the car for like 6 hours. Okay, y'all, we never turned on the music. Literally, we never turned on the music until like the last 5 minutes. We talked. And then on the way back, we were like, we're tired. Like the night before, we were like, we're not talking in the morning. Like, we're just going to chill. We talked the entire way home again. So there is somebody that is there and willing to just talk life with you. I promise. Like, I've got more out of this community when it comes to just my own personal life and journey and walk with the Lord and hardships that I've walked through than I ever have this business. Now, don't get me wrong. There's tons of amazing business opportunities and conversation and tools and resources, but I know for me, this past year, just becoming a mama for the first time, we've had job transitions, we've had church transitions, we've had sickness that just has not gone away. I have literally pulled back in my own coaching journey. Now, obviously, there's seasons for everything. I totally respect that. But y'all, I feel these things that I'm talking to you. I have felt defeated. I have felt isolated. It's been easier for me to not be consistent or feel like I want to give up because I haven't been involved in this community. And even those times where there's a season or two where or a few months went by where I didn't get on team calls, and y'all, that's just not normal for me. I've been one of the ones that has been on everything for like the first 3 years of my coaching journey. But with all these transitions, I was just tired and there's so much going on. And so I use that excuse. But every time I'd randomly be like, nope, I'm getting on team call tonight. Like I would leave and wouldn't be able to go to bed after, because that's just how excited I get and how encouraging it is. And so for even me, y'all, I'm speaking to myself when I'm talking through this call, just so y'all know. But it truly makes the world of difference. Okay. So we're going to talk about some team retreat takeaways. I'm going to share one, and then I'm going to pop it over to Lauren, if that's okay, because that's who I can see on my screen. And we're just kind of go. Girls who were at retreat, literally just feel free to unmute yourself after somebody gets talking. I know Caroline's going to go close to last. She wanted some extra time. You don't have to share. There's no pressure to share. 2 of us can share. All 10 of us can share. It doesn't matter. But really quick, I'm going to share one of my favorite moments from retreat, and then I'm going to kind of give it over to Lauren for a minute. I feel like this one's going to be spoken of a lot, so I'm kind of glad I get to go first and use it. But I'm sure everybody's going to have a different perspective. One of my absolute favorite moments, actually the absolute favorite moment from retreat. So if you've ever been to one of our team retreats, we do worship nights, usually the last night we're there. Normally somebody's leading, like my husband's usually at retreat. So he has led a few times. Courtney Foster has led a few times. Different people. Georgia Brown led when we were at Summit in Murfreesboro. But anyways, usually it's like a live kind of thing. And we didn't have it. Well, I don't know. Somebody there could have sang. If they did, they didn't speak up, but it wasn't me. So anyways, we just turned on Spotify, and it was one of those things where we just turned on music and started worshiping. And y'all, the first song, I literally just looked up and I started crying, because like we hadn't even been 30 seconds into a song. And I look up and all these girls are like, some are standing, some are walking around, like some have their heads down, like everybody's just in this state of worship. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like, whoa, how did we get here this fast? Like these girls are the real deal. Like they are worshiping the Lord. And I just started crying. And as we kind of gone on, like the Holy Spirit was there, y'all. I don't even know how to explain it. It was the craziest thing. Not crazy. It's not crazy. It was the most special thing. And about, I don't know, 30 minutes in, Caroline stands up and she's like, y'all, I just feel led to come together and lock arms, put our hands on each other and pray. And that's honestly something we haven't done before. And it was the most special thing, y'all. We, for 2.5 hours, basically, because the first 30 minutes was worship, we gathered in a circle and we just shared a prayer request. And y'all, I didn't even know there were some of these girls I had never even really talked to before. And then there were some girls who I knew, but I've been so disconnected this past year, like I didn't know them personally. And it was amazing. Like, it was just amazing. Like, the Lord just washed away any fear or doubt or judgment or opinion. And like, we just came together, myself included, and was like, this is what I need prayer for. And we literally just stood there and prayed over people. And it wasn't like just, I don't know, what am I trying to say? My mind's blank. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I mean, I do, but I'm looking for a certain word. But what I'm trying to say is it wasn't just like, I don't want to say simple, y'all. This is not what I'm trying to say. Somebody, if y'all know what I'm saying, step in. But it wasn't just like simple prayers like pray for a trip.
Surface level.
Yes. Thank you. So it wasn't surface level stuff. I was getting mad because I couldn't think of it. Not that surface level prayers aren't important. Don't take it that way. But y'all, it went deep real fast. And it was beautiful. Like, that's all I'm going to say. And it was just a reminder to me, just the impact we can have as a community because we truly love the Lord and want to seek him and we're giving this to him. But also just a reminder that these girls care way more about me than they ever do my business. And that's why we're here, is to grow in our walk with the Lord and encourage people, encourage each other to just step into the calling that the Lord's given us. Now, for us, part of that's this business, but no matter what it is, like, that's the root of it. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to speak on that and give their own perspective, but that was it was the most special moment, honestly, ever in this community, like, not just retreat. So I'm going to give it to Lauren.
All right, guys. Shay, that was incredible. I was getting chilled the entire time. That was an incredible moment. But one thing that I would love to share with y'all is that one thing that is truly so different about this team is, like, at retreat, we had this whole schedule planned out. We were like, we're going to do this. But y'all, we really did met in person. Most of us hadn't met in person, and it's going to be awkward. Like Shay said, we got deep and we got personal, like, really quick. And I truly felt like this retreat was like spirit led, and that is different. That is what makes this team different. Like, I it's just hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but sometimes I also feel like a lot of people don't come to these events because, you haven't met these people in person. And it's like, are these people going to be the same people that they are, on social media? Because that is something scary. And guys, like, there is nothing special about me just because I lead an action hour, or, there's like, I mean, we're all very special, but I feel like it's easy to, put certain people on pedestals or whatever. And like, at these retreats, you really just truly see these people for who they are. And like, you realize that you can do this too. Like, there's nothing like special about us. It's just that, Caroline has been extremely obedient to what God has called her to do in her life. And like, the relationships are just brought to a whole nother level in person. And so if there is an event that you can go to in person, I highly recommend you do it and really lean into this community, because that is one thing that has changed my life. Like, yeah, like, I'm not afraid to text someone and be like, help. So yes, I'm going to call on Ashton.
Good, because I was going to go next anyways. Okay, so I think my biggest takeaway, first of all, what Shay said, I'm just going to echo everything about Saturday night. It was powerful. Part of my own story through this community is really how my faith has grown and my walk with the Lord has just bloomed, basically because of the experience and the relationships and conversations that I've built through this community. But y'all, I have never prayed over somebody like I prayed over somebody Saturday. Okay. I really haven't even prayed over that many people in my whole life. And Saturday was powerful. You just had to be there. And I hope that is just the beginning of those kinds of experiences that we're able to have as a group, because I hope every single one of you gets to experience the power that we got to experience that night. But outside of that, that was probably the best moment. Outside of that, I had so many conversations with girls who were on that trip who all talked kind of what Lauren was mentioning about just how they were scared, nervous. They didn't want to come or thought twice about coming for whatever reason. And because they have been connected to the community leading up to the retreat, they were brave enough to come. But they said the second they got there, they felt like we had all been best friends for years. And they feel like constantly being connected to the community day in, day out, whether it's through Zoom, open gym, text messages, that they really felt like once they got there, all that fear and worry was just completely washed away. And I have to give kudos to Ashley and Jessica for showing up. I mean, they joined our team just a couple of months ago and they came in hot. Okay. And they had the best weekend. They were such a blessing to all of us. They cooked, they were the mamas of the trip. They were such a blessing, but that just shows you truly what this community is, that people can walk in the room, feel at home, be themselves the moment that we all get together. And that's truly what has been built here. And that's what you can experience if you lean in. So I echo what Shay and Lauren both said about just go to an in-person event. If you have a super weekend close to you, find somebody else that's close to you, meet them and go. Or even have coffee with a friend that's on this team if you have somebody close to you, because it truly is. I tell people all the time, like, part of our job and one of the vital behaviors is being a product of the product. But I'm truly a product of this community, and I am a product of what leaning into this community can do for someone's life who truly needs transformation. I started in a place that I'm not proud of, and I am more than proud of who I've become because I've leaned into this community. So it's my takeaway. All right, who's next? Y'all just unmute. Go for it.
Kelsey.
I was literally like waiting to see if anyone else was going to talk first. So Shay almost hit the nail on the head earlier. Like, girl, you were so close. You basically said what I was thinking about saying anyways. I was definitely like literally the one that did not want to go because I'm so self-conscious. I know that I look different from everybody else and my journey is like so different. And so I was really not one to go, especially because I did not feel well. But I went to Summit, and so I met a lot of people at Summit and drove 10 hours, like almost 11 hours, with my family. And so the reason that I actually did go was because I have been plugged into the community and leaned in before. So I didn't let it hold me back. And I went, and as Shay was saying earlier, like I was one of those people that like joined this team and everyone was so nice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way these people are real. But whenever you meet them in person, like literally there's nothing fake. Like they are literally the same type of person that they are on Instagram. And it's just so fun and so cool to be able to just be in that group and be welcomed. Like I'm never in a room of people that are all fit and work out and eat super healthy. And I never fit in a group of like people like that. Never. I have never fit in with anybody like I do this group of people. And I say we, but they went hiking, and that's something I physically can't do. And I didn't once feel left out. And that's something that I really cherished the most, because not only do I always look at y'all on Instagram and like, oh my gosh, look at them. Like they're like superstars in my eyes because they just literally can do everything that I wish I could do but can't. And I just look at them and I'm like, I just love it. And being able to meet them in person and realize that just because I can't physically stand up with what they do, I can't physically keep up with them all the time. I literally didn't feel like I was being left out. I felt like I was a part of the family, a part of the community. And that's something that you just really being different from everybody else, especially in like a health and fitness world that you don't feel a lot. I've been a part of another team and didn't feel that way. So on this team, being able to feel that way is really, really, really inspiring because it's just not something that, as somebody who's different. So if you're different, if you're scared, don't let that hold you back because literally the people that are on this team are not going to make you feel any different. They're not going to show you any different. They're not going to they're not going to be there to make you feel bad for not being able to do what they can do. They went off hiking and I stayed back and cleaned up a little bit. And when they came back, you would have thought like I did like 1,000,001 chores. Like I didn't do that much, I didn't feel. But to them, they're like, oh, it looks so good. Like literally, it was just so nice to be appreciated. But I just wanted to be able to serve them a different way because I knew I couldn't keep up with them. So I wanted to be able to do other stuff to help and be a part of the team. And so just know if you're scared, I've been there twice, like not as scared the second time, but still scared because there was people there I hadn't met before. So don't be scared. Don't let the fear of not wanting to do or wanting to participate in the things that they're doing, like hiking and things like that. If that's not your thing, it's fine. Like I can't. And it didn't hold me back. They didn't treat me any different. They were like, see you when we get back, and came back and brought dinner. Like, who does that? You know, goes out for hikes and brings back dinner for you. But it was truly inspiring just because I've never felt treated differently. I've always been nervous, but not once on 2 trips I've ever been to have I felt anything less than a part of a team and a part of a family and a sisterhood. So don't let those fears hold you back. So that's kind of one of my biggest takeaways. There was a lot, but that was one of my main things.
I'm calling on Ashley.
Calling me out. Oh man, guys, it was so good. Jessica and I have been going back and forth today, just like recapping because we're just like, this was, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we've never met any of y'all. Like I've met Caroline a long time ago in person, but it was very brief. And so just being even just the expectation of coming, kind of like not sure what to think, but excited because, you know, so far it's been really great. And then you're just in a room, like you're in this group of women. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I mean, we're all from different walks of life, but you would have just thought we were like good friends. Like we laughed our faces off. We had so much fun, but you could just sense like our love for Jesus unites us and unifies us more than anything. And that is what my heart longs for. Like that is something that I have been missing so much in just this community of like fitness and faith and combining it, but then having women surrounding you that have the same heart. And even if we're running at different paces and we feel called in different ways, like we get to come together and just like be together. And that to me, I'm like, this community is like, I would be giving people a disservice if I didn't invite people into this community because God is so a part of it. And y'all, that prayer night was so good and so rich and so deep. And I was just like, this is what we were made for, like to lift each other up and to walk alongside each other in this, all of it. I mean, it wasn't just about business. It was about life. It was about our struggles. It's about things that we're going through that we just want to surrender to Jesus. And that to me was just so, so awesome. But y'all, these girls are funny. Like, it was fun. We had a lot of fun and we laughed a lot. And I'm all about laughing and having fun. So anyway, and we like just, yeah, it was just so much fun. So Jessica, you're next.
I knew you were gonna call me out. Well, I would just say that seriously, as soon as we just pulled up, I just feel like I didn't stop smiling except for when I was sleeping. It was just so much joy. It was just joy. If I could just describe it in a word. I don't know, like so like Ashley said, like I have never watched anybody's stories besides Caroline's. Like Caroline was the only one. I've been following her for a couple years. And so I didn't know anybody. I like knew some people's faces, but like names. I knew Lauren, but we'd barely talked. It was mainly Zoom call. But I don't know, like everybody is just like instantly, like we were just laughing and just hugging each other and acting like we'd been like long lawns or something. And it was just so good. Like I just felt like Ashley and I were just going to bed every night, just like, can you pinch me to make sure we're actually like, this is so like, what is this? This community of women, like it has just like nothing I literally have ever experienced in my life. And I'm so, so incredibly thankful. Yeah, like the worship night, it was just deep. Like you could just feel like the Holy Spirit in the room. And I'm just like, I have chills all over me and just not wanting it to end. It's one of those moments you just don't want it to end. And I still remember like when I went into the middle to pray, like for prayer, like there's something that I just really needed prayer for, but it was just hard to like talk about it because it's just, yeah. Anyways, don't need to go into all those details, but I just remember like Ashton, like, you kind of like sometimes when you go in for prayer, like you can get a little nervous or you just feel like, oh man, like all the attention's on me. I just remember like Ashton, like grabbed my arm and was like holding my hand. And it was just like this peace over me and just hearing her, like, just say words of prayer and just speaking life over me. And, I don't know, it was just good, guys. It was so worth it. Everything about it. These women are amazing. And, yeah, the community is, yeah, all the trainings were good. And just the tidbits of information from everyone, like, was just incredible. And I just want to go back. I just want to see all of you again. And I wish we didn't live so far away, but if you ever have a chance to go to a retreat, please do. You won't regret it. And I'm going to call out Brittany next. She brought her sweet little babe, and she was such a gem.
Oh my goodness, I'm sweating. I do not like talking in front of people, but that also is just a testimony to this community because I have talked to people about this before, that being a part of this community has made me more bold in my local community. So to that's just a huge testimony. And just there, I was so surprised, and people have already talked about this so much, that when we pulled up, it was like we'd known each other forever. And there was no awkward conversation or awkward silences. Like I picked up Nazoni from the airport and we talked all day long, never skipped a beat. She probably knows my whole life story. And the same thing coming back. She spent like all day with me on Sunday. So it's amazing. And I was so unsure about coming because I had to bring Kinsley and she's 9 months old. And I was really nervous about keeping people awake because she doesn't sleep great all the time. And oh my goodness, the way that just the girls loved on my baby was so sweet. And just, I don't know, I'm just so thankful I brought her because I got to experience that with her too. So it's memories I'll cherish forever, just having her with me. I went on a hike with her and all the things. She did great. But yeah, I would just say I have so many takeaways, but the prayer night, the worship night, Kinsley was also worshiping a little bit too. She was a night owl, but I don't think I've ever experienced anything like the prayer, the laying of hands on me and praying. And it was totally out of my comfort zone because I don't like being the center of attention, but it was so powerful, and it's left a spiritual mark on my life. And it's something I'm going to remember forever, as like a point in my life that Jesus worked in my heart, and I think will have a lasting impact on my whole life, basically. And from that, I feel like I can have freedom in so many areas of my life. Like, I truly believe like I'm going to have freedom from some of the things that I shared from, just some things I've struggled with and that they prayed over, and like just prayed for chains to be broken. And like, I just don't think there was just a moment in my life where I was like, this does not define me. This is not who Jesus says I'm going to be. There is just so much freedom when you allow him to come in and just break the chains, and to have faith that he's going to do that. And that was it's just a pivotal point in my spiritual walk. And I'm just so thankful. And goodness, I just love y'all so much. So come on the next retreat.
I guess that means it's my turn. I'm very very shy. I don't know if that comes across on team or not. But I don't know. But I definitely know that God has called me here and to this team because he wants all of us to step up and to be leaders. And going to retreat, you're just surrounded by the leaders on this team. And if you're going to become a leader, you got to be around the leaders. You know what I mean? And so that's just my biggest takeaway. I'm getting emotional. But yeah, just what we have, we get to be a light. And I was just reminded of that so much. Like, people need us to step up. People need us to be willing to get out of our comfort zones so that they can experience this too. So if you want to grow as a leader, you need to get to in person and just lean into the community. So, and that was short, but that's what I got.
Shay, you want me to go?
Yeah, you're the last one. Finish it up for us.
Well, I'm glad I requested to go last because I just like got my socks blessed off of me just hearing all of y'all. I'm going to start crying now.